So I have this idea of what happened. I assume there's a bunch of guys sitting around in China, and they own a factory. And they're just sitting around having coffee, whatever. And one of them says, oh, hey, by the way, the injection molder came in. And the rest of them are like, oh, that's fantastic, great news. Now we can make anything we want out of plastic. And they're like, that's fantastic. They get really excited. And then the room gets kind of quiet. And finally somebody says, well, what do you want to make? And nobody says anything for a minute. And finally one of them says, well, why don't we make a traditional hand plane out of plastic? And the rest of them sort of look at each other and they don't have any other ideas, so they're like, oh, okay, let's do that. I assume that's the way it happened, because otherwise, I have no explanation for how this thing came into existence. Welcome to Import Tool Madness, episode 3. Today we're going to be looking at this little injection molded plastic hand plane. You can buy it off AliExpress for $360, $380. The price fluctuates a little bit, but it usually has free shipping. And I had to look at it. I had to get it because seriously, first of all, it's insane. It's a traditional wedged hand plane made of plastic. And second, if you can get a plane that works like on any level, that works even okay for under $4 with free shipping, I mean, that's a no-brainer. You could keep it in the glove box of your car for that amount of money. So I had to check it out. Let's look at the construction. If the shape of this plane looks a little bit odd to you, it's because this is actually a traditional Chinese shape of hand plane with these sloping cutaways in the front here. I'll talk more about this in a future video. It's got a wedge, just like you'd be used to in a standard plane. And the wedge is cut out into a V shape to help with chip clearance. That's good. It's got a little nib right here left over from the casting process. We'll just trim that off. For the cross pin, they've actually used a bolt that's recessed into one side and with a captive nut over here. That doesn't seem like it would work very well, but it's only leaving tiny little marks on the wedge and it seems to hold everything securely, and hey, it's keeping things cheap, so I'm fine with that. Now, the thing that I like the most about this so far is the iron. It's surprisingly thick, and it feels and looks like it's made out of high-quality steel. We'll test that more in just a second. Now, the biggest question with this plane is what exactly is it intended for? What are you supposed to do with it? Now, looking at the size of it, it seems like it should be a block plane. But the thing about block planes is that they're bedded usually with the bevel of the blade up, and they're set up with the blade at roughly a 25-degree angle. This thing, on the other hand, is bedded bevel down like a traditional hand plane would be, and the angle is... Wait, seriously? Oh, okay, so the angle of this plane is actually 55 degrees, so not only is that not low angle like a block plane, it's actually a high angle plane. That's like York pitch. So, okay, weird. I think the only way to figure out what's actually going on here is to use the plane. And so the first thing we're going to do is get the iron, check it out, and sharpen it up. First thing I want to check is the back flat. So let's get rid of the stones for a second. Pull in glass with sandpaper, and we'll just take a few strokes. And what we can see really clearly here is that the back of this thing is not flat. It's dished pretty badly. I don't need the whole thing to be flat. I just need like a ½ inch would be fine. So after kind of a lot of grinding against sandpaper, this thing still has a pretty vicious hollow in the middle. Now, that might actually make sense because a lot of Asian-style woodworking tools are actually quite hollow. For instance, here is a Japanese chisel, and you can tell it's also got a big hollow in the middle, sort of similarly shaped. And I know that that's intentional because it makes flattening easier. But for right now, we're going to call this intentional and not a manufacturing defect in a super cheap tool. Let's sharpen up. This thing sharpened right up. It was easy to raise a burr, but it also felt like kind of hard steel. So now the iron is totally prepared. Let's look at the plane body itself. With this thing being so small and simple, there's not too much we have to do to it. The only thing we need to check on is the bottom flat. Not even close. Now I know that a lot of Japanese planes, for instance, are actually hollowed out in here and in here intentionally, but I'm just not willing to give the manufacturers that much credit. I think the casting just moved after it came out of the injection molder, and I think this is a manufacturing defect and we should correct it. Perfect. Now I'm going to install the blade, set the wedge, and get ready to test it. The iron here is quite small. It's about 1 1/8 inches. So we'll start off with small stock. We'll try an edge, and then some face planing, some smoothing. We'll see how it works for taking off the corners of something, beveling, and end grain. Okay, so the good news is it works. The bad news is it doesn't work very well. It's okay at doing things like taking the corners off wood, and it's actually surprisingly good at bevels and end grain. But when I was trying to do the edges of boards, and especially any kind of face planing, it was terrible. The iron is very, very difficult to adjust. I had a hard time getting it projecting enough to take a good cut, and I really had to kind of wail on it with the hammer. And then when I did get it deep enough to take a cut, the wedge, which has this little fork design to it here, the points of the fork would stick out the mouth and keep the blade from engaging. So, okay, no problem, I just trimmed those off. But then it still wasn't adjusting very well. It behaved very weirdly under the hammer, and I think the problem is the material that it's made out of, this plastic. It's waxy, kind of rubbery feeling. I'm pretty sure it's some sort of polyethylene. It's very slick feeling, so I just roughed it up with a little bit of sandpaper, thinking that might help, but I still had a really tough time getting it to take a full width shaving or a full length shaving. And what would happen is it would start the cut really well, and then by the end of the cut it wouldn't be cutting at all anymore. And I think the problem is that there isn't enough friction with this wedge and the body of the plane to keep the iron set at a consistent depth for a long cut. So far it's not looking great, but I do have one idea on how I might be able to salvage this plane. So it only took me a few minutes to make a new wedge for this thing. Actually it took me a little longer than that because I broke the first one, and then I broke the second one. Okay. But then I made one, and you'll do it a lot faster than me because you'll be smarter than I was. And this wedge has solved a lot of my problems. Now the iron adjusts better. It's still not great, but better, and it definitely stays in place better. The extra friction of the wood is making a big difference. So now, especially when I edge plane something, I can get a full length shaving with a consistent thickness of shaving the whole way. So the iron is staying in place. Now, the problem I do have now, though, is that the chip ejection is not good. I pretty much have to dig in there every time to pull the chips out. And I can see what's going on here is that what they call the wear angle in here, it's much too up and down. It's really vertical. It should be leaned back a lot more to help the chips come out. And that's a tough thing to work on with a plane like this. I do have an idea. So I'm going to set this up on the drill press with a Forstner bit and kind of a careful angle and see if I can just sort of mill this out a little bit. So now with the mouth board open and the new wedge, I'm going to try the same planing tasks again. And with edge planing now, there's a huge difference. Now I can get a full length, full width shaving. The iron stays in place, and so the shaving is the same thickness the whole way. And the chips come out really, really easily. They come out as well as they do with any of my other planes. So next I took a wider piece of wood and I tried face planing, and here the plane still didn't do great. The iron was backing off, the surface it was leaving on the wood was really mediocre. It just wasn't a good smoothing plane, even for smallish pieces of wood. But I wanted to try it again with detail work, and here it excelled even more than before. Doing chamfers, end grain, and taking off the corners was really easy, and the results were excellent. So now we get down to the final question, which is, should you buy this plane? And my answer is a resounding Maybe. It is extremely cheap. It's under $4 with free shipping. And so if you want a plane to sort of fiddle around with, that's not bad. If you're willing to do about an hour of work with it, you can have a pretty good detail plane that's lightweight and easy to just sort of leave anywhere or grab and take with you if you want to go fix a stuck door at your neighbor's house or something. This is a decent plane for that, but you do have to do a bunch of work to it, and whether you're willing to do that or not is up to you. Now, the other thing I want to point out, though, is that the iron on this plane is really decent. It's actually better than decent. It's pretty good. It's pretty thick, it holds an edge well, it sharpens up easily, and it's definitely acceptably flat and square. And even if you just ignore the rest of the plane, $3.60 or $3.80 just for this iron with free shipping, I would take that deal in a second. And I think what I'm really likely to do in a future video is take this iron out, make a better plane around it, specifically for doing detail work around the shop. So even just for the iron, this could be a good buy. And before I go, I just wanted to mention that I've recently made the transition to doing 100% content creation, and I've quit doing client work because it was taking me away from doing the projects that really interest me, like making these videos. And one thing that's been a huge help in that is my patrons on Patreon. So if you like this content, if you want to see more cheap tool reviews, more ways of getting into woodworking quickly and easily, more creative artistic projects, go over to patreon.com/RexKruger and check out the rewards and early access that I have available. Now, more than ever, my patrons are making it possible for me to produce this content. The more support I get on Patreon, the more better videos you're going to see. And even if you can't contribute, I'm really glad you were able to watch this video. I love being a part of this community and sharing these things with other people. So thanks so much for watching.